Why do some police officers escalate interactions rapidly rather than acting with calm professionalism, especially in situations where it seems unnecessary and counterproductive? Here's a breakdown of why I think this happens. It's not an excuse, but an attempt at a balanced explanation rooted in training, psychology, and systemic issues. So, why do some police officers escalate instead of de escalate? Well, we get to number one, that hypervigilant. Many officers are trained under a concept sometimes called a warrior mindset, a belief that every encounter could be deadly. Officers are taught to never let their guard down. Training scenarios that they go through often emphasize threats, ambushes, and worst case outcomes. This creates a baseline of hypervigilance where even small movements can be interpreted as dangerous. So, an example, a person reaching into a pocket for their ID may be perceived as reaching for a weapon. This mindset obviously leads to overreactions, especially when fear overrides judgment. Two, stress and split second decision making. Officers often make decisions in very short time frames under intense stress, and it can impair judgment and communication. In this state, an officer might interpret noncompliance, confusion, or slowness, which we saw with this 81-year-old gentleman, especially common again with elderly. They interpret it as resistance or a threat. Number three, poor or inadequate de escalation training. Despite public calls for reform, many departments don't provide adequate or consistent de escalation training. They emphasize instead compliance tactics over communication techniques. They use programs that reinforce the idea of control above all. So while professionalism and restraint are encouraged in principle, the training often doesn't support those values in practice. Number four, culture and accountability gaps. In some departments, you have this tough culture is rewarded. A tough cop culture is rewarded. Officers may see de-escalation as soft or unsafe. Supervisors might back escalation even when it's unnecessary. If there's little accountability, escalation becomes normalized, especially if it avoids administrative consequences. Number five, fear of losing control. Control is a central theme in police training. Officers are taught that losing control of a situation could mean losing their life. Allowing a subject to delay, question, or ignore orders undermines that control, as they're taught. They may assert dominance early, even if the person isn't a real threat. And number six, lack of understanding of vulnerable populations. Again, talking about the elderly, for example. Officers may not recognize dementia versus intoxication, mental illness versus defiance, or deafness versus noncompliance. Without proper training, these behaviors are often misunderstood and responded with force instead of empathy.